on graphic design. Thank you for being here, and I'll tell you a little bit about this uh, wonderful graphic design stuff and all that. Yeah, so let's just start with, oh gosh, who dis? It's not loading, but hello, yes, this is me. I am Michelle, and I'm a third-year computer science major at Sac State. I was last term's PR chair for my home club, and fun fact, I really like sandbox and rhythm games. So if you ever want to play Minecraft or Osu, you can hit me up. Um, Moving on, why this? Why am I presenting this workshop? Well, I feel that it is both a really fun thing to do and also learn how to do, and also it's a good skill to have, both personally and professionally, because one, you can make really cool content, and two, you can be like, hey, I went through the entire process of learning how to do this, so yeah, put that on your resume. Anyway, um, I figured that if I can do this, then you can do this too, because I started my term with like zero idea of how to do any of this. And here I am now, and people are sometimes like, wow, Sac State has really cute graphics. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That means a lot. Um, and uh, yeah, we can. I'm gonna drop this quick disclaimer that I'm not a professional. I am not a graphic design major or anything, but this is just my experiences, and hopefully you can take something from that. Uh, yeah. Section 1 of 3. Graphic design who? What is it? Why it matters? Just a quick definition from the Google. Thanks, Google. Graphic design is the art or skill of combining text and images in any medium, really, advertisements, magazines, etc. It's a good way to convey what you want to say in a appealing and visual way. It's real nice. Why graphic design? As I said before, great way to visually tell people, hey, look at this thing, hype up the thing. Uh, um, the shorter, sort of more consumable messages are easier to share with people, and also just fun to create. Speaking of stuff being fun to create, you get to have a lot more creative freedom with like how you want to make the thing look, um, because graphics can convey a lot more than just like block of text. Uh, but anyway, yeah, you want to change the mood, you can change the color appearance or the text font choice or the placement of stuff, the images, etc., and anything really. Um, yeah, you get to decide how you want to set your vibes with graphic design. And yeah, graphic design is also good for your personal skills, as I mentioned before, because not only are you creating content in the moment, you're also learning how to do the thing and also developing your own style too. And I think that's really cool and definitely something that you can talk about, both with people that you want to talk to about graphic design with, and also with maybe possible employers, because you can be like, wow, look at everything that I've done to pretty much develop this skill that I now have. Isn't that cool? So those are the reasons for graphic designing. Now you can move on to how graphic design. Forgive me for the titles and also the Hamilton reference, but how graphic design is basically you pick your canvas and then you pick your paints. So yeah, choose a program that you feel would fit your needs. Like for example, um, if you are doing raster images, which are the ones with pixels, then you can use Photoshop if you're bougie and GIMP if you're not. And if you're working with vector images, which are scalable stuff, so you can make anything from small, from like a stamp to like, as you can scale it up and plaster it across a billboard. It's great. Your vector images, again, if you're bougie, you can use Illustrator, and if you're not, you can use Inkscape. you're bound to find a program for anything that you might need. Just look it up. It's probably there. Both free and paid versions, which is great. We love being able to create. Anyway, on to the second point, which is text. So in terms of text, that's just like what your audience is going to read. How do you want to word your message? That's important because it conveys the tone and such. Which font choices might you want to use? Although that kind of starts to blend into note 3, which is visuals. That is like the everything else of the graphic design. You want a pizza? These are all your toppings, because visuals is everything from is there a theme to this graphic? What colors are you using? What fonts are you using? How much space between certain sections is there? Where are you placing your stuff on your graphic? And it's like, whoa, it might sound like a lot to think about, but once you're actually in the process of creating, it's not actually that much in a way, because it's just you do the thing and it kind of does the thing itself. I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, quick little blurb about graphic standards. If you're designing for an organization or a company, Circle K, then it's good to follow these, because then it creates a sense of unity and like cohesion across like everything that you're doing. So that way, if someone were to look at that graphic, then they'd be like, oh, that's from this org or that org. Circle K. Anyway. But if you're doing this for yourself, like maybe a thank you card for someone, or maybe a birthday party invitation or something, then you don't need to worry about this. You can just design stuff how you think looks nice. And yeah, also pretty nice. Quick blurbs. Part 2, what about graphic design principles and elements? Because those are important, right? You learn about them in class and stuff. Maybe if you're going into the field and such, yes, that's important. Pay attention in class too. But if you're doing graphic design for more general purposes, such as like if you're making stuff for Circle K or for yourself, then I'd say just don't sweat it. Don't worry too much. You can look them up to read up on them just to see if you'd like to implement those different features. It pretty much is just like, oh, how does the audience member, like whoever is viewing your graphic, how do they perceive it? Because font is bigger is going to be read first, for example, and like colors with more contrast will give, like, it's more easy to tell the difference between like the text and the background. It's little things like that that people will write down and tell you is important, because it's a part of graphic design. It is important, but don't worry too much about like specifics. Just have fun making your graphics and such, because that's important. If it looks good enough to you, then it's good enough, because especially if you've had practice, then yeah, eventually you just sort of get an eye for what works and what doesn't. If you can read it easily, other people can probably read it easily. And if you're not sure about that, you can always ask other people, hey, is this good enough? And they'll probably be like, yeah, it's good enough. Or if they can find something that they can be like, maybe you can do this over here, then you can try doing that over there. And if it looks nicer, great. Okay, moving on. Part 3, graphic design version me, because I'm doing a presentation on graphic design, so I should probably show you how I go about doing graphic design. Yeah, so how do I graphic design? These are a couple of examples, 2 of my favorite things that I have made. Yeah. You can tell that like the top one is more resembling our usual meeting slides or event covers, and the bottom one is that for our elections. And so definitely different vibes, because the top one is more whimsical and the bottom one is more professional. Yeah, fun fact, the first one is actually made before I had a drawing tablet. So I drew the entire thing using the pen tool, which is pretty great. And I'll show you in a little bit. What I usually use, if you already read it, mostly GIMP. I think it's really cool. I call it bootleg Photoshop because it pretty much is. Sometimes I'll use stuff from Canva because Canva is pretty quick to just like use a template or like take elements that they've already included and just put everything together real fast. It's also pretty beginner friendly. So if you're trying to start to get into graphic design, maybe you can start with Canva. Anyway, and other times I use MS Paint for the lulz because MS Paint design is hilarious in certain contexts and not fitting in other contexts, but you'll know when you can use MS Paint. It's great. It's funny. Anyway, for my design process, I was like, how do I do this? I'm gonna give you a TLDR version, which, funny enough, works because TLDR, I start in text form. So I'll open up like a notepad or something and just write down everything that I might need, be it like what words I want to use, so then it's easily like revisable to, what ideas I want to include. So like, what do I want to have as like a drawing or image, or how do I, is there a theme and how do I want to convey this? All my ideas like that, I'll write on Notepad, and then I'll lay everything out on a text, or not text layer, a draft layer in GIMP, and just sort of like doodle a little bit and figure out where do I want to put stuff even. Where will the text go? Where will the drawings go if I draw stuff? And yeah, where that way I can get a feel for like, how do I want to fill this space that's going to be the graphic? Yeah, and from there I'll go into designing, which will be the actual drawing process. Can take anywhere between like just about an hour to like upwards of 4 hours, depending on how much time I want to invest into a graphic. And then refining, which is just kind of taking a step back after everything's quote unquote finished and figuring out, oh, where is there still like space that I feel is too much? Can I move some of the text so that it's more legible to the reader? Do I want to adjust some of the colors maybe? Anything like that. Maybe I'll add like a flower or a sparkle somewhere. But yeah, that's my entire process really. And then after refining, there's nowhere else to go really, because after you've revised an essay enough times, you're on your final draft and you can submit it. Anyway, yeah, now that I've told you how I do the thing, I can now show you how I do the thing. I'll do that. So time to go into GIMP and stop speaking at like rapid hyper pace. Let's make a new doc. Make a new image. Sure, we can use 1920 by 1080. I'm gonna just move this over here so it's out of my way. This is the last color palette I used apparently. Yeah, we can go with that. Okay. So let's start with the fill tool, and we'll just change the background layer. This little bucket over here, you can change the background by just filling the background. And draft layer, let's make a draft layer. And from here, oh, speaking of drawing tablet, I now have a drawing tablet. So I'm gonna just take the paintbrush tool over here and try to figure out where I might want to put some stuff. So let's see, what should I make for this thing? Let's see. How about like, wow. We love graphic design. Nice. Okay, and then I don't know. Then there's gonna be a lot of space over here, right? So that doesn't feel right. How about we just draw like a cat here or something. Circle, because that's what a cat looks like. Okay, so then after I do a draft layer, you can have this however solid slash transparent you want it to be, but then I might do like make a couple more layers. We can make a color layer, and we can make a lines layer. Yeah, let's start with the text, since the text is over here and it's pretty simple. Let's go with Hawai'i, because that was a typeface that I used, and I'm like, this is hilarious. Why is it called Hawai'i? A fitting for wow wow. Let's just scale this up so it kind of fits where that is in the draft. I'm gonna move it over by holding Alt and then just dragging it over there. And yeah, that's over there now. And I'm gonna actually use this color for the We Love Graphic Design portion, because it's a different color and will therefore differentiate it from the wow wow. I'll also change the text to something else. How about we go with segue, just a normal segue UI. Yeah, and we can be like, oh, that's still in caps. I don't want this to be in caps. That's too loud. I'm a little loud right now, but yeah, we can be like, we love graphic design. Make these the same size font. 67 was it? I think. Yeah, nice. And then I might want to like put these two together, so then we can just merge these. And now you can, using the move tool over here, you can now, if you're in the right mode, you can hold shift and move the layer that it is. And it's like, wow, those two things used to not be on the same layer, and now they're on the same layer. Isn't that cool? So let's put this over here actually, because I don't want it to be too close to wow wow, because otherwise then you won't be able to be like, what, why are they so close? Why is the title of the thing pretty much mixed in with the rest of the content? That's a little weird. So we'll have wow wow be over there, and we'll have this text be over here. And back to the paintbrush tool we go. I'm gonna go and let's see here, draw the cat, I guess. So yeah, we'll, oops, I'm not on the right layer. We'll go to the lines and be like, cat drawing time. Let's get rid of this draft layer for now. Cool. That's you can tell that's a cat, right? But yeah, from here, I'll give a quick pen tool demo, because I know here they call it paths, but yeah, I'll give a quick paths demo, because a lot of people are intimidated by paths, because they're like, the curve isn't doing the curve thing that I want it to curve. So let's make it do some curves that we want it to. The thing about the paths tool is it is kind of like how things like Illustrator and Inkscape would essentially draw their shapes. So it's like, here's a point, and this line is going tangent to it. Oh gosh, it sounds like math, doesn't it? But it's just like, this is the direction it's going by this much. So yeah, now we can make a sort of cat egg thing, I guess. Yep, there's our orb that is a cat. And oh, as you saw, we can also change this independently, so do that if we wanted to. But I'm just gonna leave it as an egg. Yeah, now you're probably wondering, what do we do with this shape thing? It doesn't look like it's drawn anything yet. Let me make sure I'm on the color layer. Okay, So I'm on the color layer, and I'm gonna take an we can just fill it in with this sort of whitish off-white thing. And we just click to fill path if we want to just fill it. Alternatively, you can go to selection from path, and then you'll see that it's selected the area. So then if you wanted to, you can just like draw in here. That's a thing. But I'm lazy. I'm just gonna fill the path with the color. Yeah, we just fill it with a solid color. Now it's a cat egg. Hooray! One more thing that is pretty cool that I want to note about this paths tool is that, did you know you can use it to turn text into curved text? Like if we wanted this wow wow to go over the top of the cat, for example, you can like go like this, and then like this, and then you're like, okay, how's this supposed to go over here? And you go over here. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. I did this earlier, and oh, okay. So you go back to the text that you wanted, right? So you now have this line, but you go back to the text tool, and in this text, you're gonna right click and go text along path, and you'll see it says wow wow here now. Isn't that cool? And then you can hide this, and now you're like, well, that doesn't look like it's written it yet. It's like almost there though, right? We'll make sure we're still using this color. And now you can right click this, or you can like double click it, and then you'll be editing it, but it looks kind of wonky right now. Don't worry about it. We can fill the path, and I think wait, I'm on the wrong layer, of course. Let's go back to the color layer because color layer is pretty cool. Oops, my bad. But now we're on the color layer, and we're gonna go over here, and we're going to, oh, I just right clicked, and I'm gonna find fill path because I'm lazy and don't want to deal with the stroke path stuff. And yeah, now it says wow wow over the cat egg now too, and it's all curved and stuff. Isn't that cool? I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, another thing to note is that you can edit the colors from the colors tab. Plenty of color editing options there, and you can also do a lot of cool stuff in filters as well. I really like using light and shadow sometimes to just put a quick drop shadow or a long shadow if I'm lazy, or if you've seen any of the graphics that I usually do, oh, make sure to hide the paths there so you can see what it actually looks like. If you've seen a lot of the graphics that I usually do, you'll know that I have a habit of being like, man, these things need more stuff. This looks a little plain. How about I just like draw some lines, little like squiggles, little swooshes. Um, I do little swooshes everywhere a lot, I think. Like, wow, now it's not just a cat egg, it's a cat egg planet, question mark. But yeah, you'll get a feel for your own style of graphic design with more graphics that you create. And yeah, that's my little graphic design demo, and I'm gonna go back to the slides real quick and click the present button and hope that my computer is less of a potato. It's still being a potato, but that's okay. Yeah, demo time is done, and I think I might have, oh yes, I forgot to include the slide with the post demo thoughts, but you might have been like, oh my gosh, that was a lot in the past, not that much time at all. How am I supposed to do this? Well, again, as I pointed out at the beginning, I too had no idea how to do this at the beginning of when I started doing this. So you got this. I believe in you. And I had a few more points about that, but I forgot them. But yeah, that's kind of the end of my presentation, I guess. If you have any cues, I can match them to A's. If you have any questions, I got you. I'll do my best to answer them in a way that is hopefully helpful. I hope that you found this information helpful and or entertaining. But yeah, you can sign in the little workshop sign in thing. And again, if you have any questions, I'm here. And also on Discord. And you can email me too. My messengers are also open. So yeah, I'm vibing. But yeah, thank you again. Oh yeah, I should check the participants for questions, huh? I will do that. Yeah, Sandra, you have your hand raised?
Yes. So you mentioned about how you use like this quote unquote bootleg Photoshop.
Yeah.
How long did you use that program until like you switched?
Okay, so I think the thing is, junior year of high school, I took AP 2D design. So I keep saying like I had no idea what I was doing, but yeah, that class was really just, this is Photoshop, this is Illustrator. Okay, you can just goof off and like play stuff and have a camera, go take pictures, have fun. So it was like, I don't know if I learned anything in that class. It was just like my homework class. But anyway, how long have I been using GIMP is essentially? Technically I had the program since then because I had no money, so I could not buy myself any Photoshop stuff at home. So I was like, how about I just use this to make photos? We didn't exactly have any like homework per se from that class either, but it inspired me anyway to make memes. And so yeah, technically since then, but uh mm, probably less that because I had the program but I never really used it that much until uh um what's it, PR stuff. So yeah. Uh
So are we done now?
Good question. I think I think so. If no one else really has questions. Yeah, how did I do for time? Or was that too fast actually?
Oh, you're doing great time. So like within like this next 15 minutes, if anyone like to like ask questions or ask Michelle to do another live demo, whatever
Yeah, I
she's
can
like preferred, like yeah.
I can
Please
show you
ask
more
away in
cool
the chat.
trips tricks because um what's it? There's a lot that you can do in GIMP. I just was like, oh, okay, oh gosh, I don't know how I could do for time because my first and only run through this workshop went over time by like 15 minutes, and I was like,
You're doing great, Michelle. And then Ricky, you can ask your question.
yay. Yes, Ricky, and what's your question?
Hey, good job.
Hey.
What's your favorite font?
My favorite font? That's a good question. The ones that were in this are pretty cool. The ones that Circle K uses are also pretty cool. And the ones I think I use most are either Segway UI or like Bond Shift. I think Vanessa actually asked me this before too. And so yeah, those two, and maybe even is it Tahoma, I think? I don't know. The ones that are sans serif and kind of simple. Those ones are pretty nice. And then any of the ones that are more fancy, I can kind of just draw myself. Yay. Comics Sans italic bold. I'm dead. Oh.
Hey, Michelle, what advice do you have for people with creative block right now?
If you have creative block, maybe try to find inspo from other people's work, and also just like maybe looking back on some of the things that you've done and try to that you've done yourself too, and try to think, are there any patterns with the way that I do stuff? Is there anything that I can do different? And or do I want to just chill and like have a doodle session and maybe even redraw some old work? Art block I know is quite a struggle. But for me, I think finding ideas from other people and other people's work is a way to start thinking about different ways to approach stuff, I guess. Hopefully that was kind of coherent enough. Yeah.
Hey, Michelle.
Mhm.
What's your favorite meme?
My favorite meme.
Yes.
That's a good question. I don't think I could just pick one. I don't know. I know at the beginning of college, I was like, man, Bongo Cat is me. But me right now, I'm like, hmm. Lizette, you had a question?
Hi, yes. I was just wondering if you recommend Canva as like the other form of like something easier for people who are not really into like all those layering
Yes,
things.
definitely.
Or is there like another one you suggest?
Canva was another one that I mentioned because again, yes, it's a lot more beginner friendly. It has a lot of the things there already, and you don't even need to like draw anything yourself. It's just, hey, here's a bunch of elements that you can just drag or like just click on, and then it'll just appear, and then you can just move it around or like change its shape. And yeah, and you can add all the text that you want from there too, and it has its own little set of effects, and it has its own animated shapes even. Canva's pretty easy to pick up, with definitely a lot less of a learning curve than GIMP is, because GIMP is a lot if you're just starting out. Yeah, Canva's a really good place to start if you're just getting into graphic design.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, apparently there is a little creative network thing that you can join if you're thinking about getting into this or any other creative thing for CNH. We've got a little network. Isn't that cool? But yeah, we can just put this here. Wow, you already saved the link, huh? But yeah, that'd be cool. That sounds pretty cool, and I think I might join that. If there are no other questions, and if I still have a little bit of time, I can maybe like add a little bit more to the cat egg drawing.
Yes, Michelle, take this space. It's all yours. You have 10 minutes left.
Okay, we
You're
have
doing
10
great.
minutes to figure out what we want to do with a cat egg. Oh, maybe one of the things I can show you is how I like to outline, quote unquote, text and stuff. So for Ooh, yeah, I'll show you some really fancy text editing stuff, I think. So for this wow, okay, hold on. I'm gonna right click on the lines thing. I think that's where I put it. And click on this thing that says alpha to selection. That pretty much, okay, before I do that, actually, it's not the lines layer. This is a lines layer. This is the color layer. That's where I put the wow. But you can right click on the layer, right? And then go down to alpha to selection, and that'll select everything that's in that layer. But I don't want to select the egg too. So let's go over to the lasso tool, and we're gonna hold control because that says you can subtract stuff. So we're gonna hold control, and then we're going to you can either click to do like multiple points like this, but that's just gonna get rid of this egg real quick, or from the selection anyway. So now we just have the wow thing. I just pressed enter to make the lasso tool stuff go away. And yeah, now we have this and we can do cool stuff to it. So let's see, cool stuff 1. We can take a gradient, and I already set it so that it goes from like, oh, this has color, and then it just slowly goes to transparent, right? So we're gonna take a gradient, and let's set the shape to radial because it's kind of like a circle here. And I'm gonna just actually, I want to switch the direction of this so that it goes to the outer side. I think that's how it works. And we can do stuff like this. It looks a little wonky right now because I'm not doing it right. But yeah, I'm gonna up the opacity so you can actually see what's going on. How about we pick a different color? Oh, that looks interesting. But yeah, you can do stuff like this. It might be a better idea to pick a different color. But that's a thing. Maybe before I do this, I'm gonna make a new layer actually. So now, oh. Okay, no, that's still on the previous layer. But I'm gonna undo this actually. Never mind. I was gonna redo all of it just, but that might take too long. Wait, I clicked on something and now I need to redo it anyway. Okay, fine. But now I'm too lazy. I'm just gonna select the words again real quick. Oops. Deselect this one. And yeah. So another thing that I like to do is put a sort of outline on this. So we'll call it like wow outline. And then put this layer underneath the layer where the text is. And we can then right click on this and go to select, and under select there might be a thing that says grow. So for grow, we're gonna do we can do like, yeah, 3 pixels work, or I guess not. Let's just reopen this. To reopen something, you can go to, oh, I guess not. But we'll just go to select and then grow. So 3 you saw was not that much, so let's go with like maybe 8. Okay, that's a bit more of a line, and you can take the fill tool. Ooh, or we can test the gradient thing here too, because it already has that area selected, right? So we'll take this brown color, and we'll also take like maybe this sort of reddish color. Sure, we can make it like that. Actually, there's not that much contrast between the two. I'm gonna edit this a little bit more. Let's go with this color. Why not? And then let's take a gradient, and to see both colors, you can go to foreground to background. I think either one of these will work. let's go with HSV. And we'll just do that. And yeah, that's a thing. There actually isn't that much contrast still, so let's just up that color a little bit more. Yeah, I kind of see it. If you're bothered by the bottom being dark and the top being light, you can switch that. Oh, it's not HSV that you want to use, it's RGB, my bad. But yeah, you can see it's doing the switchy switch. If you don't like the radial shape, then you can test a different shape. Let's go with linear again. And yeah. And then you just press enter to, oops. You press enter not on the shape thing selected. Deselect the shape thing, please. Please. Thank you. And then you press enter and it does the thing. And then maybe you can deselect it from here, or you can take a lighter color and you can grow it again. Select, grow, and let's make this like something, a larger number. Let's go with like 20. Whoa, that's cool. And then you make another layer. Wow, outline. And then you can just, oops, you can just fill this, and ta-da, now it looks like a sticker. But yeah, and kind of shiny sticker too. That's pretty cool. Those are some of the things I like doing with text. Other stuff that I do is just more drawing stuff. I can show you some more paths tool tricks. Let's draw, like, for example, like a little heart here, because why not? It doesn't even need to be complete. You could just leave it like that. You're probably wondering, like, wait, that doesn't look right. Why does it not look right? That's because it's still a path, and we can see it over here in the paths thing. Let's go to lines, because I'm gonna make this a line, and just pick like a sort of red. That's red enough. And we're gonna use the stroke tool. Before I do that though, I'm gonna double check the paintbrush tool, which is over here. I already know like all the shortcuts for it, so I'm just pressing them. But for the paintbrush tool, it's just P. You can always change the key bindings too, I think. Somewhere up here. I don't bother with that though. I either just find them in here, or I memorize the key button. But that being said, I was gonna like make sure this paintbrush tool was something that I wanted to use for the heart, right? Because once we draw it, it's gonna look something like this. But yeah, if it's what I want it to be, then I'm gonna just go and make sure it's this one, right? We're gonna right click on this and we're gonna go to stroke path. So you click on stroke path. I really like using the paintbrush tool for this because if you have dynamics on, or if you, especially if you don't have a drawing tablet, using the paths tool can be pretty fun because like GIMP has a bunch of these like different settings for what happens if you're like pressing down or like doing stuff. We can go to basic dynamics and it'll kind of do like a simulated thing for your brush stroke. Anyway, we're gonna go over here and go to stroke path. Yeah, stroke with the paintbrush tool, and it does that. That's kind of cute. Yeah. Those are some of the simpler tricks of using GIMP. At least for drawing and graphics stuff anyway. You also have stuff like the clone tool, which you can use to either like GIMP is usually used for photo editing, so that you might use to like say that there was like if you wanted to copy this heart, for example, you would hold control and find like a starting point like this, and then you can just go over here and just it clones. Yep, that's what it does. Or if like there's a random spot and you don't want the spot to be there, you can take like some of the surrounding area and like just clone this over it. Oops, hold control. And oh, I forgot there's a transparent thing. But like, say you're on the background. Okay, you're on the background. There's a random dot in the background. If it's the same layer, then you hold control and you need to just click here, and then you just do that. Spot gone. But yeah, GIMP is pretty cool. You can use it to make stuff like this. That's kind of it, I think. Yeah.
Thank you for teaching us about GIMP, Michelle.
Mhm.
And while there's a few minutes left until the next workshop, which is self-care in this room, y'all can sign in, leave Michelle some like words of affirmation or improvements that she can make on her workshop, and like thank y'all for tuning in. So make sure like grab water,
Yes.
or take a breather before you go.
Do some self-care before the self-care workshop. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess I will